black towel and start there. All right. Yes, sir.
When it comes to, you were talking about the live version of songs not being representative of the album version. Is the album version what was captured at that moment, or was there a plan to have a album version of the song and then have a live, jam?
We saw them as two totally different
animals.
Artistic choices. The album version being sort of an idealized version at that particular moment, and then the minute that was done, we went back into evolving the song forward. Same thing. The audience doesn't want to hear an evolved version forward, so.
That's awesome.
Well, you're in the minority in that, unfortunately. I mean, go back. Yeah. One needs to look no further than our documentary, If All Goes Wrong, to see the attitude that we face coming back. That's what it is. Look, it's a pretty simple byline. What happens when a band that's an art band thinks it's still an art band and the audience thinks it's a pop band? Violence ensues. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I really like your voice, obviously, here, but you've said early in your career that you didn't like your voice. So how did you get over that and get on stage?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's an evolving thought. When your own father tells you you can't sing and he's a great professional musician, you start there and work your way out of the hole. And look, we have a weird voice. I mean, my niece has the same Corgan voice, and I hear her singing. It's a strange voice. It's just we have genetically something different. There I go being ist again. Not sexist. I'm geneticist. Just cursing my lineage. Goddamn the Irish, I don't know. It's the Gaelic. No, it's a Gaelic. What it is maybe the better way to say it is if you don't understand your voice, if you don't understand even the genetic root of your voice, it's almost hard to figure out what your music is. So my ancestral lineage is closer to the Gaelic voice. So if you listen to bluegrass music, or even how I sing a lot during the show, that's the correct application of my voice. So because I didn't figure out the correct application of my voice, I figured out some sort of weird alien hybrid version, which has often been compared to nails on a chalkboard, in order to find something that was almost more guitar-like or something. And once I figured that out, then it became about navigating that space in a way that was distinctive. I couldn't sing, like the way I sing on Siamese Dream, I could sing in a context like this. You'll often hear me sing just like that, and fans are often surprised because that I can still sing like that, because they thought that guy died in 1994 and never returned. But live in a rock context, it's almost impossible to sing like that because you have to sing with so much breath and air that literally you would pass out. So I hope I'm answering your question. It's like a bit mechanics and it's a bit sort of just accepting who you are. Okay, last question. I get a good one. Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite thing about visiting New Orleans?
My favorite thing about
Visiting New Orleans.
New Orleans? Well, I was saying last night, I mean, we used to come here in the early 2000s, and it was pretty dirty and funky, and it reminded me of all the people I didn't like back in Chicago. And I even ran into some yesterday that I know. It's like, they're the type of people that hop on a plane and come down here and puke all over and then leave, you know what I mean? And that's what I said. To me, that was the New Orleans. That was the only New Orleans I knew. That was the New Orleans I heard about. I'd never come down from Mardi Gras or anything like that, so I didn't see maybe that magical part of it. But I noticed, like in probably the last 7 to 10 years, the city's just on fire and maybe reclaiming its history or heritage, or I don't know, maybe it's just the economics of the whole thing. I mean, the city's amazing right now, and it's so beautiful, and the history and everything. It's like when the history comes together with the tourism and the arts, then it kind of works. So like last night I went to see a jazz and preservation hall, and I remember talking to the guy who was running the place after I was leaving, and I thanked him and I said, it's so beautiful that you're doing this music right. It's not the tourist version, the shitty people at the bar tourist version, but like the real version that is one of the great accomplishments of this city, and Louis Armstrong being the face and the beginning of that, Kid Ory and King Oliver and a bunch of other people that really were pioneers that in many ways started rock and roll. Some people say rock and roll started with Ike Turner in 1955 with Rocket 88. I would basically say rock and roll started with those guys down here And ironically, the first place they recorded was in Chicago. So that's part of our legacy too. So there's that weird, almost spiritual connection between this part of the world and our part of the world, the blues and jazz and Dixieland and stuff like that. So when I come down now and I see that everything working together, it's like it's amazing. It's the way it should be. Not like some watered down, shitty guy puking in the street version that almost makes you not see the beauty because you can't get past it. But that said, walking down the street last night, I did see plenty of puke on the street. So I'll leave it at that. God bless you. Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show.